Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the DC English Podcast. This is the place where you can learn to speak real, natural American English with confidence. I am Nora.
And I am Noah. And yes, if you're wondering why we are laughing so hard, it is because Nora almost knocked her entire cup of coffee all over the microphones right before we started.
Hey, it was an accident. You bumped the table with your knee. Anyway, the coffee is safe, the microphones are safe, and we are so happy to have you with us today. We are recording this right here in Washington, D.C.
Exactly. Today we have a really fun topic. We are talking about exploring a city. We are going to share the story of a full day we spent walking around the city together. And to be completely honest, my feet are actually still tired because Nora walks so fast.
I do not walk fast. You just walk too slow. You stop to look at every single building. But it was a really long day and a wonderful day. Our day started early in the morning. We crossed a bridge from our neighborhood and walked right into the middle of the city.
We did. We woke up early because we had a very full schedule for the day. A schedule is just a list of all the things we wanted to do and the times we wanted to do them. And the first thing on our schedule was walking around the famous National Mall.
Right. We wanted to see the big monuments and just enjoy the morning. But the weather in June can be a little surprising. Usually, June is very hot and sunny, but that morning, the weather was actually a little tricky.
It really was. We walked by the water and there was a very strong breeze. A breeze is just a nice, light wind. But because it was early in the morning, that breeze made the air feel a little chilly. It was just cold enough that I wished I had a light jacket.
Yes, it was definitely chilly, but thankfully the weather changed quickly. Once the sun came up a little higher in the sky, it turned into a beautiful, warm summer day. That is one thing I really love about living on the East Coast. We actually have 4 different seasons.
True. Having 4 different seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall, makes nice days feel much more special. But even though it was a beautiful morning, we started the day with a small problem. We were running late.
Yes, we were definitely running late. And just so our listeners know, when we say running late, we don't mean we were actually running with our legs. It just means we were behind on our schedule. We did not have enough time. And the only reason we were running late is because someone, I won't say his name, but his name is Noah, spent 30 minutes looking at his phone trying to find a specific bakery.
Okay, that is fair. I admit it. I wanted to find the absolute best croissant in the entire city. So because we were running late, instead of sitting down inside a restaurant for a long breakfast, we just ordered some hot tea and grabbed a fresh croissant to go from a small local bakery.
And that was perfect. We ate as we walked, and it gave us the energy to start our big day. Now, before we tell you about the beautiful parks and the shopping, let's take a quick moment to remind our listeners about how they should practice with us today.
Good idea. How should everyone practice while they listen?
We want you to just relax and listen closely to the story. Try to imagine the city as we describe it. And remember, at the end of the episode, we will have our special shadowing exercise where you can practice speaking out loud with us.
I love the shadowing practice. It is the best way to improve your pronunciation and sound more natural.
Exactly. For now, just listen and enjoy the walk. So, after our quick breakfast, we walked toward the center of town. And the first thing I always notice when we walk around Washington, D.C. is that the city is incredibly diverse.
It really is. It's so diverse. You see people from all over the world, you hear so many different languages being spoken on the street, and you see so many different cultures. It makes the city feel so alive and special.
It does. As we walked toward the center of town, we passed a large outdoor market. It was a weekend farmers market where people sell fresh fruit, vegetables, and flowers. And it was so lively.
Oh, I remember that. It was very lively. Everyone was smiling, people were talking, and there was a street musician playing the saxophone on the corner. The music sounded so good, it really added to the happy feeling of the morning.
It really did. After the market, we walked over to Lafayette Square. This is a very famous, beautiful park right near the White House.
Because it was June, the trees were completely full of bright green leaves. It was starting to get hot, so those big trees gave us some amazing shade.
The shade felt so nice. When you stand in the shade under a tree, it blocks the hot sun and cools you down perfectly. The park was so peaceful in the shade. We saw families relaxing on the grass, and some people were playing catch with the baseball.
Yes, we saw a father and son playing catch. They were just throwing a baseball back and forth to each other. It looked so fun. We also saw a lot of animals in the park. Do you remember those big birds near the water?
Oh, yes, the geese. I remember them because you pointed at them and accidentally called them gooses.
I know. English is funny sometimes. One bird is goose, but if there are more than one, we have to say geese. It's an irregular word.
Well, the geese were very friendly. The nature in the park smelled so fresh and clean, but because it was summer, there was a lot of pollen in the air from all the flowers and trees. You actually sneezed so loudly that the geese got scared and flew away.
I did. It was a massive sneeze. And you immediately looked at me and said, bless you.
Yes, that's just a common habit here. In American culture, when someone sneezes, it's polite to say, bless you. And the person who sneezed usually says, excuse me.
Yes, saying excuse me is very polite. It's a good habit to have when you're walking around people in a city.
So after we left the park, we decided to walk over to city center to look at the stores.
We walked past a lot of very expensive luxury designer stores. But of course, we didn't buy anything. We just did some window shopping.
Window shopping is my favorite kind of shopping. We didn't physically go inside the stores to spend money. We just stayed outside on the sidewalk and looked at the beautiful clothes and bags through the glass windows.
Exactly. You get to look at all the amazing things, but your bank account stays completely safe. It is a fun way to explore the city without spending any money. But we did eventually go inside one sports store, and I couldn't believe it. It was incredibly crowded.
It was so crowded. There were so many people inside the store that we could barely move around. We had to say, excuse me, just to walk past people.
Yeah, it was packed. Everyone was buying running gear because there was a big charity running race happening the next day. They were buying hats, running socks, and shoes, and I actually found a really nice hat that I bought.
You did. You bought a blue hat that said spectator on the front. And that was perfect because a spectator is just someone who watches a sport or an event. You don't actually play in the game or run in the race. You just stand and watch. You were a spectator.
Exactly. I prefer to watch other people run. And the hat fit my head perfectly. It was very snug. When a piece of clothing is snug, it means it fits closely and comfortably, not too big and not too small. So I knew the wind wouldn't blow it off my head.
It looked great on you. But shortly after we left that busy store, we had a major emergency.
We did. It was a serious emergency. I looked at my watch, realized it was past 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was absolutely starving.
Yes, I always know when you are hungry because you stop talking and get very quiet. And starving is the perfect word. It is a much stronger way to say you are very, very hungry. You don't just want food, you need to eat something right now.
That is exactly how I felt. I was starving, so we decided to go grab a bite.
Yes, to grab a bite is a very common phrase we use every day. It just means to get something to eat quickly, usually something casual and easy. You don't usually say grab a bite if you are going to a fancy restaurant for 2 hours. You grab a bite at a small cafe or a sandwich shop.
And we decided to grab a bite from a food truck.
We walked down to the area near the big Washington Monument, and there was a long line of colorful food trucks parked on the side of the road.
They were selling everything you could imagine. Tacos, halal food, burgers, ice cream.
Ugh, the smell in the air was amazing. We found a great halal food truck, and we ordered some fresh chicken and rice with white sauce. We took our food and found a nice wooden bench facing the Washington Monument.
It was such a great moment. We sat on the bench, eating our warm food and looking up at the huge white stone of the monument against the bright blue summer sky. It was honestly breathtaking.
Breathtaking. Yes, it was. When something is breathtaking, it is just so beautiful or so impressive that you feel a little bit surprised by it. It was a beautiful view.
It really was. But after eating that heavy lunch and checking my phone and seeing that we had walked almost 7 miles, I was totally ready to call it a day.
Me too. When you call it a day, it means you have decided that you are finished doing whatever you were doing. You are done exploring, you are done working, and it is time to stop and go home to rest.
And rest is exactly what we needed. We walked down into the underground metro station to take the train home. I was completely exhausted. Exhausted means you have absolutely zero energy left. You are much more than just tired.
Well, walking around a big city in the summer sun will definitely make you exhausted, but it was a wonderful day and it is always worth it. And now, speaking of hard work, it is time for the most important part of our podcast. It is time for our shadowing practice.
Yes, shadowing is the absolute secret to speaking English naturally.
If you are new to the podcast, shadowing is very simple. I am going to say a sentence from today's story. Then I will pause and stay quiet for a few seconds. During that pause, I want you to repeat the sentence out loud wherever you are. Try to copy my exact pronunciation, my speed, and my emotion.
Yes, please do not just read the words quietly in your head. You have to speak the words out loud to train your mouth and build your confidence. Are you ready?
Let's begin. Sentence number 1. Listen closely. We decided to do some window shopping because the store was crowded. Pause 5 seconds for listener to repeat. One more time. We decided to do some window shopping because the store was crowded.
Great job. Now for sentence number 2. Listen first. The sun was hot, so we stood under the tree for some shade. One more time. Nice and smooth. The sun was hot, so we stood under the tree for some shade.
Excellent. And the final sentence, listen closely. I was absolutely starving, so we grabbed a bite at a food truck. Last time. Speak clearly and with confidence. I was absolutely starving, so we grabbed a bite at a food truck.
Amazing work, everyone. Shadowing is not easy, but if you practice out loud every single episode, you'll start sounding more natural before you know it.
That is so true. Practice makes perfect. Thank you all so much for joining us on our walk around Washington, D.C. today. We hope you learned some great new everyday vocabulary for exploring a city.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the DC English Podcast and share it with a friend or family member who is learning English.
We'll see you all next time for another fun, relaxing English lesson. Have a wonderful week.
Bye, everyone. Keep practicing.